In this video, we're going to look at trading horse racing on Betfair and specifically lay to back trading. This is the cousin of back to lay trading and a racing strategy that many beginners prefer. I'm going to show you the whole strategy step by step, then give you some real life trading demonstrations all recorded on the Betfair Exchange so you can see exactly how it works. If that sounds good to you, then go grab a nice cold beer or an old fashioned and let's get into it. So with later back racing trading, the concept is pretty simple and it is, as it says on the tin, lay the horse at low odds, wait for the price to drift in running, back it at higher odds and lock in a profit from the price difference. So later back, it's the opposite of back to lay, and there's many who say that later back just feels that little bit safer for some. Whether that's true or not, we're going to investigate more as this video develops. But with later back, instead of just looking for a horse which is going to stand out from the crowd, we just need to find a horse which is just going to struggle, which, as said, seems a little bit easier, isn't it? So we're not looking for a horse which is going to start to win and look really good. We just need a horse which is going to struggle a little bit, going to get a drift in price, and we can lock in that trade. Now, one thing to keep in mind with later back, which is a huge difference compared to back to lay, is that there are going to be high liabilities and discipline is very, very important. When you enter a back to lay trade, the most you could lose is the stake you enter with. When you enter a later back trade, you're going to have liabilities which could be many multiples of your stake, which as said is why discipline is important, and exiting before things get volatile is absolutely crucial. So why do prices drift in running? It's important to understand this before you do a later back trade. If you can find a horse which is going to start at the back of the field, very, very good chance you're going to have a successful lay to back trade. If that horse is dead last, right at the start of the race, then very likely that price is going to drift on that horse and you can capture a trade. But there are other things. If you can find a horse where the jockey just starts to struggle or doesn't look confident in the early stages of the race, that will cause a drift. Ironically, the crazy part of this is that sometimes a horse racing right to the front, racing keenly as they say, can actually cause a drift also. If it's running a little bit too fast, then the markets will anticipate that that horse is going to run out of steam and the price can drift just because of that. That's not what we're going to look for, of course, but this is just another reason why prices can drift. And bottom line is just other horses looking better. So let's just say we've entered with a lay bet on a particular horse. There's one other horse which just goes right to the front looking really good. Jockey's looking confident. All the money's going to come in for that horse, which will push the other prices out. Perfect if you're on a lay to back trade. And like other in-running trading strategies, the market reacts initially to perception. It's all about the perception. So we just want that horse to just not look good in the beginning of the race. That will be enough to make it drift. Okay. So keep in mind, when you're on a lay to back trade, it's not a lay to say, hey, this horse is not going to win, let's trade it. It's just to say that it's probably going to have some market doubt. We can capture a drift and then we can get out. Okay. So this strategy and many, many more are actually covered in this book here, the Racing Trading Playbook, and you can discover every single racing strategy, all the ones that are working very, very well at the moment. You can check them all out. They're all covered within this book and you get a complete map of the racing trading landscape. It's full of real life examples. And if you want a copy of this book, link is in the description of this video, or scan the QR code. Scanning the QR code is the easy way. You can just enter your details and you'll get that book delivered to you by the time this video is done. And by the way, the book is absolutely free if you get it today. So head over and get that locked in. Don't miss out on it. So let's look at the strategy flow of a later back trade. So you're going to do your research. You're going to find your target horse. You're going to enter before the race starts with a lay bet. You're going to place your target back bet, which is obviously going to be for your target profit. And you're going to look to secure your profit in the early stages. Otherwise, you're going to exit if that horse runs better than expected. So you really, ideally, with a later back, want to secure your profit early stages of the race. And we're talking the first 30 seconds, the first minute, because you don't want to be around when it starts to potentially get volatile. As said, you've got big liabilities in the market. And if you start to hang around towards the business end, trying to get your 10% or 20% profit locked in. Meanwhile, you're risking 500% or 600%, then you are just recklessly gambling by that point, aren't you? So ideally, you just want to look for your horse to struggle in the beginning of the race. First 30 seconds, you're out with a nice profit and you're done. As said, we've got real life trading demonstrations coming up of this. But anyway, as said, lock in profits early, avoid the business end of the race and use your trading judgment. This part is a skill, and later back trading and most racing trading in general is a skill. It's a skill-based thing. So you've got to be in that market. You're going to be watching your horse closely, and you have to decide very early on, do I exit? Do I maybe take a smaller profit? Do I hang in for my target profit? Or is this going completely against me and I've got to exit for a loss at this particular point? There's a lot of decisions to make, but as said, first 30 seconds, maybe the first minute of the race, and you got to make that decision. Okay, we don't really want to be hanging around till 3-4 minutes deep into the race before you start to try and get out, right? So anyway, the bottom line is, if your horse does struggle, the odds can drift fast, and you could be laying a horse at 4. It could just drift out to 6 within seconds. It could be one of the dodgy jumps. It could not jump well. That can be enough to just push it from 4 out to 6 within seconds. It can still recover after that, but that's enough for you to make your trade. And this is the opportunity. This is why we also say to have your order into the market, because these prices bounce around, and it's not really the type of trade where you can just enter with delay, think, well, let me assess how it goes. Oh, okay, let me try and exit now, because you've got to have that order in the market ready to be taken instantly, because there's just so much carnage. So anyway, when you are finding your target horse for a good later back, you ideally want to find horses likely to race at the back. You want odds that are not too high. You want the room to drift. So it's not as simple as, hey, let's lay a horse which is 50 to 1 and it's an absolute donkey, because it's a big liability. And if that horse unexpectedly starts to run well, you've got a big liability against you. At the same time, you don't really want to lay too many favorites, although favorites can be actually some of the best opportunities, but you need to be really confident about taking on that favorite. Sometimes just the second favorite or the third favorite are actually the better opportunities. You also want horses that are prone to mistakes, and you want a competitive field. A competitive field is great, because if you lay a horse, another horse just looks good, that should be enough to push the price out on your target horse. So anyway, you also want to decide on your target profit. How much are you going for? 5% profit, 10% profit, 20%, 30%, 50%? Much of this is going to depend on the strength of the horse, the field size, the price of the horse also, and also the length of the race. The longer the race, potentially the more profit you can go for, and potentially the longer you can hang around, right? Anyway, once you're in the market, you're obviously going to lay that horse before the start of the race. You're going to put a back bet order into the market. Once that back bet is matched, it's great. Profit's locked in, same result regardless of the outcome, and no need for that horse to actually lose the race. When it goes wrong is when you've got to take some action, and when that horse can go to the front or just looks better than expected or just races steady, that's when it's time to exit. And we strongly suggest using software to exit. One-click trading software to exit. It's going to be very, very hard to exit on the Betfair interface. You want to have software available so you can see a bad start, or a bad start for your trade, probably a good start for the horse. But if it's a bad start to the trade, then you exit. And that could be something like the horse just going right to the front. That can often be enough to make the trade hard enough for you to want to realize to exit. It's probably not going to be enough to be an absolute disaster, which is why we strongly suggest just exiting in the early stages. But anyway, look, there's enough theory. Let's get into some real live trading demonstrations of some lay to back trades so you can see it all for yourself. Before we get into that, it would be great if you could click the like button. That will definitely help to support the channel. And while you're there, you should hit the subscribe button and the notification bell also. Anyway, let's dive into it. We've got some lay to back trades. So we're looking at this race from Limerick, and it's just about to go off actually. And we're looking at a lay to back on this horse here, Aishan. So I'm going to try and get this in the market if I can. Prices bouncing around all over the place. We're very, very close to the off as it stands. So we're going to get that in the market, and then we are going to try and look for to get matched in play. And so we're going to try and aim for 25%. They're very, very close to the off now. So let's just get this in and then press keep. And we're obviously going to monitor the early stages on this race. So let's come back right at the off.
2 3/4 miles, 14 fences to jump in this party time handicap steeplechase.
Okay, so we're underway. 2 miles, 7 furlongs. We're looking to get a drift on this one here, Aishan. So let's keep an eye on the prices.
Decision of the top weight under James Duggan. Leads by a couple of lengths. Nolan's Rocco with Ishan towards the outer in the cheek pieces, followed towards the inner by another O'Cana, who's in company with the mostly white jacket of Snow Punt. Next in the field then, races Tullabrack Lad in the striped sleeves with upside that one. The distinguishing blue cap of Smackwater Jack, the 2 Sneezy Foster runners. On the outside of that, the green and white of Decimation, followed towards the inner by Zolfarine in the pink sleeves. Upside that is the orange jacket of Mastermind, who's followed by God Help Us. As they come towards the first of the 14 fences, and it's a difficult decision. And James Duggan taking them along by a couple of lengths. As they come to the first of the 14 fences, leads by 2 to Nolan's Rocco, who's pulled its way through to be second. Slight mistake by the leader, but gets to the other side. 3 lengths then to Snow Punt, who races in third with Ishan 4 on that one's outside, followed then by another O'Cana, who's 5th on the inner of Smackwater Jack, followed over that by Tullabrack Lad.
Looks like we've had a little nibble on our order there of a 3.7. So the drift looks like it's coming for Aishan. So far, so good. Let's see what happens next.
Decimation was...
And it's fully taken. So there we have it. We've got 25% locked in over all the outcomes very, very quickly.
With Alish Lass as they jump that next fence.
And that was all done within, what, 1 minute, 30 seconds. So that's the thing, when you're getting involved with these later back trades or back to late trades and you're in the markets, you want to keep an eye on that clock. You want your trade to ideally be done within that first minute, within that second minute, depending on the length of the race also. You don't really want to hang around too much till the business end because things can get very, very volatile. And obviously, if you're using this with software, it can be much easier, just 1 click to exit the market if it starts to go against you. But anyway, otherwise you can put in orders like we've done here.
With the orange jacket of Mastermind on the outside of that duo as they continue to run downhill is a hell of a man who's in front of God Help Us and Alish Lass with Rideau Canal on that one's outside on the back 2.
And so the most interesting part about this trade is just to keep an eye on this horse, okay? So our one that we laid, Aishan, it's always worth seeing the market movement of this horse, even when we're out of the market. So obviously it drifted in price, and maybe we can bring up the chart without too much interference. Just keep an eye on this price. So we can see that it drifted out, and that's what we caught. We caught that early drift. We obviously had the information that it's going to have a bit of a slow start to this one. We caught that early drift. That was good enough for our trade. That was absolutely fine. But as said, this horse could, well, it's gone pretty much back to the starting price. It could easily go on and win it from here.
The penultimate time, and coming up towards the fence, which will the last in a circuit's time. And on the inside, on the outside, it's a difficult decision. On the inner is Nolan's Rocco. Not a lot to choose between the two. Again, all safely over 3 lengths.
And so now you can see this horse is starting to drift and probably starting to get into a little bit of trouble. Okay, could be a bit of a tricky final stages to the race for this horse. But anyway, look, for us, it doesn't matter. That's just another example of a later back. We had the information, slow start from this horse. We got involved. As said, you always got to be prepared to exit if it does start to go against you. But if your information's good and you can keep a close eye on it, then you try and stay in till you get matched. Anyway, look, just look again on Aishan. It's shortening in, so still could be competitive in the late stages here. Let's see what happens.
Ishan coming there, one from the rail on the outside.
So we're in the final stretch of this. You can't really see the pictures. The stream is messed up, but this horse, Aishan, has been heavily odds on. It's going to be an interesting finish to this.
5 lengths then back to Snow Punt, staying on in third at the second last. Ishan and Nolan's Rocco on the inside. Snow Punt.
It's Nolan's Rocco that's up there alongside Ishan, and it's a big battle. Look at this market. This is absolutely crazy. flip-flop him back and forth. It looks like Nolan's Rocco is going to be the one to get this.
50. Snow Punt staying on strongly behind them, but it's Nolan's Rocco the leader. Snow Punt coming home well on the far side. Nolan's Rocco drifting towards the stand side, and it's going to be not close home by Snow Punt. It's close between them. In fact, Snow Punt and Nolan's Rocco put it up to the judge. Ishan was a close third, and they were clear of...
Well, you can't see it, but that's going to be a photo finish. This horse, Snow Punt, just came from nowhere and almost nicked it. I mean, let's have a look. Let's have a look while this is getting figured out. We want to get an idea on our horse. This was our original horse, Ishan. We can... All right, I'm going to just get rid of that now. We can see that went as low as 1.16 in running. So that's pretty crazy. And this horse, Nolan's Rocco, is up there. Let's have a look at this one, Snow Punt, which looked like the horse which was going to steal it. And that went as low as 1.25, and it could end up being the winning horse. Matched as high as 70 in play. And we've still got Nolan's Rocco, which is what the markets think is going to be the winner in this one. And that's gone as low as 1.02 in running, currently out to 1.45. And I guess that the race has been decided. But anyway, this is a good example, not just of the trade, but of how exciting some of these finishes can be in the horse racing market. It's absolute carnage. So we're getting close to the off on this one, and we wanted to do a later back on this particular horse. The great thing about the software is we can see immediately where our bets should be. So we're going to put that in and press keep. So we're doing a later back.
This event starts in 30 seconds. In 30 seconds.
We're doing a later back on this horse. We're looking for 10%. We just want to be in and out very, very quickly at the start of the race on this one. Obviously, it's a big liability. We don't really want to hang around till the business end. That's the main idea. So you want to be in and out very quickly, take our 10%.
10 seconds.
And then move on. So anyway, just about to go off. We'll be right back.
The yellow and orange jacket is among those prominent, with Willful in the pink and green, Jubilee Alpha
So we're underway. Let's keep an eye on this horse here, Carbao.
behind the leading line. Was a bit awkward at the first flight. Pale jacket with a pink cap. He's
And there you are. We've got our 10% locked in right away. A little bit more on the Carbao. You could just press that one click to green it up. And we're done within, what, 25 seconds. Okay, let's have a quick look at the race and just see how it pans out a little bit.
as they make the long run between the first couple of flights. So Betty, Willful in the pink and green, and Jubilee Alpha are the leading three. Tracked by Undawi and Cracking Rhapsody and Bowmore out wide in the brown and light blue.
And so it's always worth just keeping an eye on the horse you took on. I mean, we saw an immediate just little drift in the price. That's what we took advantage of. And we were out very, very quickly. So looks very, very easy. I wish all the trades were as easy as this, but that's kind of the idea. You're identifying a horse which is going to get off to a potential slow start. And in such a big field and such a long race, it's more likely to drift than it is to steam in the early stages. Remember, we laid this at 6. Now look at the price. It still hasn't really shortened. And of course, remember, on the software, you've got one click. So if it does start to move against you without you potentially getting your trade, maybe that horse goes right to the front, you could just exit and try and minimize the loss. But anyway, in out very, very quickly. Nice later back trade. As I said, I wish they were all as easy as this. And just to show you, you can also see how it looks on the Betfair interface also. Okay, so that's all locked in. So yeah, lay at 6, out at 6.8, in and out, 10 seconds, or roughly that. And we made that 10% profit. So all done. Let's let the horses race the race after this. So we've got more examples coming up, but a quick question for you. Have you done well with later back trading? Those who have experimented with later back trading on the horse racing, how has it gone for you? Is it a strategy that you use often? Please leave a comment below to share your experiences with later back trading. It would be very, very interesting to hear. And while you're there, if you haven't got this book, I do strongly suggest you get it. You can discover every strategy. Okay, this is the Racing Trading Playbook. We cover this particular strategy and many, many more, all backed up with real life examples. You can learn and discover which strategies are actually the ones which you want to particularly trade with. If you're new to racing trading, you like the look of what you're seeing, grab this book and take a good look at it. The link to get it is in the description, or the easier way is to scan the QR code that is on the screen, fill out the form, and we will email the book right to you. Yes, it's absolutely free if you get it today, okay? So make sure you get that book in your collection right away. Anyway, we've got more examples, and one of these examples is actually going to be very, very interesting, where we're kind of actually going a little bit against a lot of the advice in this video, but it's going to be interesting for you to see how it plays out. Let's get into it right now. So this race is just about to go off, trying to get these pictures, but we're getting set up for a later back. We've laid Kim Rock at a 7.2. We're trying to aim for 10%, and it looks like the race has just got underway.
With the enabler right up there, Glenn Gooley is also prominent on the inside. Jericho.
So we're aiming for 10% profit. Let's see what happens. Kim Rock, that's what we need to watch.
Hung Jury is the back marker, slightly outpaced in the early stages. Also Excello towards the rear, and so too on the inside Sandor Cleggan as they cross over fence number 2. Glenn Gooley in the centre just touches down in front with on the inside Ars Brewster, and it's now Ars Brewster has come through to take the lead to Glenn Gooley racing in second. The enabler is in third, and then Heracles Westwood, the dark blue right round the outside, making the first line of 4. They're then being followed by Lord Accord around the outside of Jericho Rock. On that one's inside is Mombeg Genius, who's racing at the moment just in advance of Prendre Grande à Trois as they make the run into the back straight. Rota.
So we've had a nibble at our at our order. Almost all of the order has been taken, as you can see. Let's leave it. Let's see what happens.
On the inside as they got over the first fence, taken down the back straight. Now the back marker is Sandor Cleggan and Hung Jury.
But I mean, you know, we're a minute in. As said, you don't, for this sort of trade, it's obviously a big liability when you're laying around odds of 7. So you don't really want to hang around for too long. You kind of want to get your 10% and then get out. Okay. So let's see what happens here.
Guard Etoile with Jericho Rock on the wide outside. There was a mistake there in midfield by We've All Been Caught.
So it was finally taken in the end, the final £3 of it.
Paced in the early stages, and they go over the next plain fence and in midfield a bit low.
But yeah, all done within 2 minutes. And so the key idea behind this sort of trade, just collecting that quick 10%, is to not really be involved in this race by the business end, because once you're involved in the business end, some of these horses could be going odds on, and if you're laying at odds of 7.2 like we were, with like £600 of liability to try and gain £10, not really worth it. But if you can stay in the first minute, try and get your 10%. If the 10% doesn't arrive, you can obviously exit at the end of that first minute, or if it moves 10% against you, 20% against you, which is going to be quite rare in the early stages, then you could also use that as your stop loss. But as you can see, we're 2 minutes 30 seconds in on this one, and it's still, because it's a 3 miler, so it still hasn't gone that volatile. But anyway, we were out on this one pretty early with our 10% profit. So we're going to be looking at a lay to back trade, and we're going to be looking at this horse, the favourite, Bambino Fever, currently around evens. We've still got around 4 minutes to go, so we're going to try and get in as close to the off as possible with this. And of course, you might be looking at this thinking, wait, hold on, the favourite? Why would you be doing a lay to back on the favourite? Surely you should be doing the longer shots. Well, you have to go against the market very often when you're trading. Also, at the same time, we've got very good information which suggests that this is going to have a bit of a tricky race. It might still win, but it's going to have a difficult race, and we could still capture our trade. So remember, when we're doing a later back, we're not saying this horse won't win. We're just saying it's going to be trading higher during the race. So anyway, we're going to get set up very close to the off, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we've just entered laying Bambino Fever here, and we're going to put our order into the market at pretty much double the odds. We're going to try and see if we can get 50% profit locked in on this one. So we put it in, we press the keep, and we're aiming for a lay to back trade on this one. So they're just about to go off, and we'll be right back.
Nick, but it was wishful thinking, I'm afraid. They were coming in fast and...
False start. That will happen. So let's come back and wait for the off again.
Certainly didn't suit Amen Kate, who hampered Blue Velvet quickly onto the first in the Ryanair Mares Novices Hurdle.
So we are off now, and so we're in the early stages of the race. This is going to be 2 miles and 1 furlong, so it's going to be a bit of a long race, which means that you, as a trader, when you're doing a later back, this is now your time to monitor the markets, monitor your horse. Also pick out your horse from the pictures that you've got, just to see how your horse is running. And ideally, you just want to see that your horse has got a little bit of doubt, and that might be enough to swing the odds in our favour. Let's see what happens from here.
Followed by Diamond du Burlay, Future Prospect away on the inner. Old School Outlaw, the green and yellow hoops as they clear the second, just worse than midfield, in company with Jackie Hobbs. Amen Kate the outside, wider still Blue Velvet. Well back is Echoing Silence, the light blue, ahead of Scavenger's Reign. The back three, Louvre d'Irlande, the best turned out winner.
So you can see our horse is drifting already, which is a positive sign. And as said, as a later back trader, these are the signs you want to look for. This is obviously going in the direction that you want. So there's no real panic just yet with this particular trade.
Full of Life and White Noise, the first two. Kingston Queen, Chosen Comrade, just running in behind, ahead of the unbeaten Manganese in 5th place. Bambino Fever, the yellow and blue, settled in 6th position. Another 3 lengths back, ahead of Place de la Nation and Charme des Faust and Saint Irene, as they come to clear number 3. The first of the 3 over on the far side. Carrigmorna Spruce is still the back marker. Alphonse is well back in the field. At the moment, Old School Outlaw in around about 10th position in company with Jackie Hobbs, as Full of Life leads over the next as they now run on towards flight number 5. Full of Life to White Noise, Chosen Comrade. And then
so we're approaching the 2-minute mark. You can see our horse is still drifting, just touching odds of 3. Which is all positive. And of course, at the same time, for some later back traders, they might look at this and just think, well, do you know what? Got the early drift. We can just take the cash out now and exit. We're going to try and hang in there and try and see if we can get our 50%, because obviously this is going in the right direction. There seems to be a bit of market doubt for this favourite. Let's see what happens. Still a little bit of time left in this race.
Over there next, and at the back of the field, Future Prospect running with Alphonse, and Carrigmorna Spruce will need to pass everything to win. So they have just 2 flights left to jump from here, heading to the top of the hill in the Ryanair Mares Novices Hurdle, and it's Full of Life and Mike O'Connor leading to Chosen Comrade, Donna Myler, White Noise, the blue and pink, and they're followed by Manganese. To the outside then is Kingston Queen, then Place de la Nation ahead of Charme des Faust and Irene. Bambino Fever in about 8th position at the moment, running on the inside of Amen Kate. They're followed then by Old School Outlaw and Echoing Silence, trying to work a bit closer ahead then of Jackie Hobbs as they run towards the second last here. Full of Life over to Kingston Queen, Chosen Comrade, White Noise is under pressure, Place de la Nation, Danny Gilligan coming there to the outside, followed by Manganese. And
so it's looking like it's going to be a tight, busy finish. Anyway, we've got matched on this one on our later back. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this ends.
Queen makes her bid under Jack Judah. Full of Life, White Noise, Place de la Nation, Bambino Fever is under pressure. Old School Outlaw in the McManus hoops is trying to pick.
Bambino Fever struggling, probably not going to win.
Towards the last here, as they do so, White Noise is picking up very strongly. White Noise staying on gamely, led over the last. White Noise chased by Place de la Nation. Old School Outlaw coming after White Noise as they head towards the final 100 yards here. White Noise in front, Old School Outlaw is chasing hard, then Place de la Nation and Charme des Faust, but White Noise is going to take the opener for Matt Nichols and Kim Bailey. Second home was Old School Outlaw, in third Place de la Nation, and fourth home Charme des Faust.
So that one, Bambino Fever, wasn't anywhere near in the end, and it was this horse, White Noise, that won it. Let's satisfy our curiosity to have a look and see. That was 180 to 1 in running. Yeah. Anyway, that was a crazy one, but it was a good example of a later back. Obviously, we stuck with it. We had the information that the favourite was going to struggle. In the end, the favourite really did struggle. Didn't come anywhere near the places in the end, which is great. But obviously, at the same time, you saw that we won our trade fairly early on. And if the horse did go on and win, we would have still locked in our profit and won no matter what the result was. But also, if you just play the clip back, you can also see that the information that we had was pretty good. as in there was a constant drift on that horse. We weren't really staring at a red screen at any point in that trade. We had all the indications going for us. We could see the horse wasn't leading. It was struggling near the back. We captured our trade, and this was the type of trade you stick with. As said, later back trading, you might get in at the start of the race, and then if you spot some warning signs, you might just get out, take a 10% profit, 20% profit. In the end, look, we got that 50% profit on our stake. And anyway, yeah, just a good example of a later back trade. And so like I said, that last trade probably a little bit more advanced. If you are a beginner to later back trading, I strongly suggest just sticking to early stage profits, 30 seconds or a minute, quick in and out trades without the big risks. And the truth about later back is that it's really all about speed and discipline, if we can even spell discipline correctly. But you really have to think fast and just don't be too greedy. Enter the market, use software to exit the market if it goes against you. That's absolutely crucial. And if there's just a 5% profit and it's starting to get a bit volatile, just take the 5%. Don't try and hang in there for a 10% and then potentially risk, as said, 200%, 300% or more. So anyway, look, if you like the look of what you've seen and you want to go even deeper with the in-running trading, we do have this masterclass, the Racing Trading Masterclass. And it's available for free, it's available privately, and it's available on demand away from YouTube. This is the stuff we can't show you on YouTube. What I've shown you today is just the start compared to what we're going to show you inside that masterclass. So if you do like what you're seeing with later back trading and just racing trading in general, then this is actually the next step for you. This is for the serious learners. So do come prepared, bring a notepad. And yeah, basically the link to book a viewing is in the description of this video. That's the only place you can find it. And if you check it out today, it's absolutely free, okay? And just to be clear, you don't have to go anywhere for this masterclass. It comes to you, you watch it via a video link in your own time, available on demand, as said. So all the links with further info are in the description of this video. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed checking it out later back. That was obviously a fun strategy to check out. There should be another video on the screen worth checking out. If you want to go even deeper and you want to stay on YouTube, then definitely check this out. Okay, it's on the screen, click it, and I'll see you in the next video.